Okay, YouTubers, space detectives, and paranormal police. Let's today look at this image. Now, this was taken, I think, only a few days ago, less than a week ago, this image, and it seems to be Bigfoot in Nevada. Now, this photograph was taken on a mobile phone, it seems. I've got the source images here. I'll give you all the source images and where I got it from in a minute. I'm going to show you the clips first, just to show you the details, and then I'll go over where I got the image from and show you that it seems genuine, at least in my opinion, it seems genuine. It's a genuine photograph. Now, whether it's actually someone in a suit or not, I don't know. It doesn't look like it is to me. You've got some interesting details here. There's no sag, as if you were wearing a sort of a gorilla suit or a Bigfoot suit, you would expect to have sag here behind the knees and in the crotch area and around the sort of upper thigh area, that kind of thing. And there isn't any of that. This potential Bigfoot here doesn't show any signs of costume sag. Now, let me show you the image up close. I've got it in here. Now, what I've done, this is the original photograph here. Now, this looks like it was taken on the mobile phone, judging by the aspect ratio of it, and it's a small image. This is the original size. Let's see how big that is. Okay, that's 508 by 960, so it's been resized. Now, that's probably because it was shared on Facebook. Now, when you share an image on Facebook, it downsizes it and converts the image downwards and compresses it down, okay? So beware, if you only ever store your images on Facebook and you want to say your photographs and you want to get them printed out, and then you've got the image back from Facebook to print it out at, say, a printing shop or whatever, you would find that the image is really small. This is the problem with Facebook. It's not as bad as it used to be, but this is probably not the original size at all. I would imagine the original picture would have been much larger than this and much higher resolution. So this has been downsized by quite a large factor, I would say, unfortunately. But luckily, it's still big enough at 508 by 960. So let me show you where I got it from in a sec. Hang on. Let me show you this first. Now, this is the meme I've just done. Now, what I've done here is I've basically, let's go a bit bigger, right? I've basically got a raw clip here, the original photo here on the right, and my enhanced clip of this in the middle. It says enhanced clip there, AATV. Here's the information that was with the original post on Coast to Coast. A young Bigfoot was spotted near Wheatfields, AZ, Arizona. At Navajo Nation Fish and Wildlife is covering it up. Navajo Nation, and I put the date, 9th of June 2019, source Navajo Nationalism, Facebook, and I've got the link to their page here, so you can check it out. You can see the original post here. Here's the page on Facebook. All you got to do is look it up, Navajo Nationalism, and you will find it. All you got to do is scroll down, away down the page here like I've done, and there's some other Bigfoot stuff on here. And there it is. It's that long brownish looking picture. There's some comments underneath. Okay. So the problem is when you actually download an image like this to actually save it, it's not the original size. So obviously the person who took the photograph would have taken it on a mobile phone, judging by the aspect ratio, like I said, and it's been downsized by Facebook, considerably smaller. I would say by a factor of about 5 times or something like that, 4 or 5 times smaller than the original photograph. So the original would have been quite good. So, but the quality isn't bad. Having said that, let me show you if I zoom into this a bit more, let's zoom into the actual raw image here. Now, obviously I've enlarged this, but it's not terrible. This is what I do with Mars and Moon images. Basically, I take the raw clip, I enlarge it and stuff it with pixels so that you can actually zoom into it without losing too much detail. Okay, I do it very carefully so as not to add anything to the original. apart from the enhanced clip that I've done. So you've got the original here, clip there, raw clip, very brown, and I brightened it right up here, as you can see. That added a bit of contrast. That's all I've done, and I've sharpened it a little bit. You can see where I've sharpened it a bit here. You've got thumb detail, finger detail, good arm detail and leg detail here. The actual leg actually comes behind this rock. This is a rock. Now, a lot of people are commenting on these images saying that he's wearing trainers or something. They're not. People really need to start learning how to look at things a bit more carefully, I think. Some of these crazy people on Facebook really just don't know what they're looking at or how to interpret stuff properly at all. But look at it. You can see where the leg comes back behind this. Okay, it comes back like this, and there, and the foot would sort of come is behind this little ridge. There's a little ridge here, okay, and you've got a rock in front of the foot. So that is not a foot, because the leg actually goes behind that rock. And as for the other foot, it does look a bit odd, and it seems to curve, sort of bend downwards like this. Now, from what I've read about Bigfoot, Bigfoot has a ridge in the foot, which means the foot can bend upwards. So there's a ridge here, okay? Now, some of you that know more about Bigfoot will know this. Basically, they have a different bone configuration in the foot, which means they can bend their feet in an upward motion like this, which we can't do, us humans, because we have arches in the foot like this, but more pronounced than that. But this also may be a rock. Now, if you look at the shadow here and here, this also may be a rock we're seeing here. And unfortunately, because the image has been downsized and it's not great quality to start with, probably, we can't really tell whether this is a rock or that is the foot. So that is a bit of a problem for me. But if you look at the rest of the details in the image, the lack of sag. Now, if this was a costume, I would expect there to be more sag up here, and behind the knee here, and around the ankle area as well. Now, a costume would probably have stupid kind of big feet, and also costumes tend to have, not that I've ever owned one, but I have had masks and things. They tend to be made of latex, and I would expect if this was a latex kind of head or face made of latex, we'd be seeing a lot more shiny kind of reflectiveness here, which we're not. It's very dark, and is quite similar, in fact, to the original Paterson Bigfoot that was taken in 1967. I'm going to show you a little clip of that in a minute. Also, pay attention to this. We've got a pointed head, which is what a lot of people have said they've seen with Bigfoot, a kind of cone head, and a very pronounced shoulder here, with dark kind of tuft of fur or hair behind the shoulder and neck. There's no real neck here at all. It's basically a head and massive shoulder muscles. Now, I don't think you would see that in a suit, someone wearing a suit. I really don't. And there's also very pronounced breast detail here. This may be a female, okay? Because we've got quite large nipple detail there, which I don't think you would get in a monkey suit or a Bigfoot, a fake Bigfoot kind of outfit from some kind of film set or joke shop or whatever. Where I don't even know where you would get such a thing. I'm sure there are places you could buy these things, but this isn't anything like any of those. You've got some really kind of, there's a very little face detail, but you can see a nose and what looks like a chin sticking out here. Quite a pronounced chin, just there. And there's no real eye detail to be seen. It's very dark. Ear detail, there seems to be some kind of detail here, but it's a bit vague. Unfortunately, we haven't quite got close enough footage here to actually tell exactly. See that you can actually see in the original photo here that this was taken by the side of a road, perhaps out of a car or something. looking across, we've got the fence kind of barrier thing by the side of the road or track here. That looks like a road barrier, and then we've got the potential Bigfoot over in the distance here, probably 50 feet away. And I would suggest that this isn't if this is a Bigfoot, and it may not be, but if this is not a fully grown Bigfoot. This looks to me like a possible adolescent female, perhaps, not a full-size kind of 9 foot, great big kind of male Bigfoot, because they have been seen up to sort of 15 foot tall, but generally they're between sort of 6 and sort of 9 feet usually, but there have been reports of some much larger. So this may be an adolescent female. If this was a male, well, I would expect there to be some other details in the crotch area there that aren't there. So could this be real? It certainly looks intriguing, and once you brighten the image up like I've done here, it's actually pretty good. And in fact, when you compare it to the original Paterson footage, I've got some pictures up here from the Paterson footage. The hair is much darker in this. The one we're looking at today is much more brown. This is almost black, but there are some striking similarities when you look at it up close. The sort of pointed head, the head kind of points up, the very dark face with not much facial detail. Obviously there's hair kind of hiding a lot of the facial detail there. I've got some of the actual footage here. I'm going to play you some of the original footage that was taken in '67. There's loads of these on YouTube, by the way. This one is called Roger Paterson Bigfoot Footage, that's it. And it's uploaded by David Walker in 2007, so it's quite an old bit of film, obviously. I'm just going to play a little bit. I think this has been stabilised or something. Now, a lot of people have tried to debunk this, and it's never really been fully debunked by anybody. And in fact, lots of people have I don't know if any of you have watched programs like Finding Bigfoot or anything like that. They did studies on this, and they worked out that it would be almost impossible to fake this because of the way that the posture and the actual kind of physiology of a person would fit in a suit would not actually work very well. In other words, the proportions of this creature are not human, especially the leg proportions. And there's lots of info on that, so I'm not going to go on and on about this. I'm trying to keep this fairly short. You can check out these things in the description below. I'm going to put links to all this stuff. I'll have a link to the Wikipedia page, although there's not a great deal of footage on there. You're probably best off just going on YouTube and checking out some of these bits of original footage, and pay attention particularly to let's go back. There's probably better versions of this where people have enhanced it, but pay attention particularly to the rather dark and large muscular formation behind the head. You've got this very dark kind of fur on the back of the neck, or where the neck would be, and it's basically huge, great big shoulders. So there are similarities here, and the arms aren't particularly long, although they are probably slightly longer than the human arms. I don't know. It's hard to tell from that. There are better versions of that, and you can actually see in some of these photographs that there are very similar details to what we're seeing in the image today. Okay, so there we have it. So I'll put links to the original post here. This is the Navajo Nationalism page on Facebook. I'll have a link to the Coast to Coast post here from them on Coast to Coast, and here's my clip on Coast to Coast. So you just zoom up, and my clip's here. This is my first meme. I've done another one now because I was a bit flippant about this, and actually now looking at it a bit more carefully, some of the details say to me that this thing may actually be real, and it's pretty clear. It's one of the best photos we've got of a potential Bigfoot. There are many people that claim to have photographed it, and usually they're tiny little things so far away that you can't even see them, and are very easy to hoax as well, which doesn't help people who are trying to do serious research on the matter when you have people hoaxing things. So there we have it. Let me show you that in the folder. Actually, I should be able to zoom into that a bit more. There we are. That's about as big as it would go on the page anyway. So there we are. You can see the raw clip there. It's very dark, very brown, but it's not quite as dark brown as the 67 Bigfoot from the Paterson film. But the image itself is all very brown, and I wonder what sort of settings the camera was on, because it looks pretty awful. I'd expect it to be white balanced a bit better than that, but who knows? It could have been taken on quite a cheap phone camera by the looks of it, but it would have been much larger, the original picture. But there we are. I've done my usual very, very simple enlargement technique and added quite a lot of brightness and sharpened it a bit, like I do with the Mars and moon images. So there's nothing different there, but you can actually see the foot behind this rock, and there's a distinct lack of costume sag, like I said. You would expect there to be a much wider, looser fitting kind of details, especially around the legs and ankles here and in the crutch area. This may well, like I said, be a adolescent female. And we've got that great big shoulder detail here and around the sort of neck area, like we have on the original 67 footage, and a similar slightly pointed cranium here. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of facial detail, but he or she seems to be looking slightly away from us over to this object, perhaps this thing here, this bright object on the ground. So there we have it. It looks like it was taken at a distance of about 50 feet or maybe 100 feet. It's hard to say exactly, because this. How tall is it? 6 foot? Hard to say exactly. You could actually work it out if you went back to this spot in Nevada and took some measurements. You could work this out precisely from this photograph, the actual height of this thing. So there we are. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and give the thumbs up and share on social media. This seems to be going viral, this story. This is why I picked up on it, basically. I just thought I would try some of the skills I've used with my other research on Mars and Moon stuff. I thought I'd apply it to this and see what results we could get from an image, and the results are pretty good. I'm quite pleased with it. I don't know if it's real. I'm only showing you the original pictures here, just so you can work it out for yourself. A lot of you people are probably a lot more versed on this kind of research than I have been, because I haven't done it for so long. I did do it quite a lot years in the past. So I'm not what I would call an expert on this subject. I'm just applying some of my critical thinking and logic skills to it, and my image enhancement skills, and just looking at the image carefully and slowly, and looking at the details with an open mind, which is very important with these things. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'll put some more clips of this coming up. I'll show the original clip and everything, and the enhanced clip, and show you all the close-ups again in a second. Thanks for watching. See you soon.